I was thinking about this, like when you came into the league, the WNBA was still so young. And now 21 years later, your generation of player, people like Diana Taurasi, like the impact that you guys have had on the league, on women's sports, on women's basketball. How much do you think about that now, especially in what potentially could be your last season?
Yeah, I think about it quite a bit. There's one little thing I've kind of stumbled on as my thoughts have like processed all these things. And I'm really proud of it. And it's that in a lot of ways, you brought up Diana. We're kind of the same generation. In a lot of ways, we are the first generation, right? Because even though Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, Cheryl Swoops, Dawn Staley, Tina Thompson, the list goes on. Those first, I got into the league, I think year 5. So those first 4 years, of course, they started the league, they set up shop. They're the reason we even have this opportunity. And of course, you name names even before them, right? But me and Dee are actually the first generation to live the life, like a full life of a women's basketball player. Getting drafted out of college, going pro right away, playing overseas, playing for your national team. Like there was nobody to really model your career after, like a career path. You couldn't be like, oh, I used to watch so-and-so play. This is what they did and this is how they did it. There really wasn't that to look forward. Like there was nobody for me to model a path after. And even though our new CBA has this prioritization in it, which is going to impact players going overseas, so this path might change in the next couple of years, we're kind of the first ones to forge our own. And I think people have tried to not copy it, but it gives you a template. And it's something I'm really proud of.
Well, I think I'm glad that you used that word, and I'm glad that you have that frame of mind now, because I think it is important while you're still in the moment to recognize that pride in something that you've done for so long, something that you put so much work into. When you say the template or the blueprint, let's say, of doing things the way you and Diana have done, is there anything you would change? Is there anything you would have done differently in your career, that something that maybe has happened or something that you didn't do because you didn't have the template or the blueprint when you came out?
Yeah. 2 things come to mind. One, I'm not saying I would have done this, but the thought, looking back on it, I get drafted to Seattle. I end up, putting roots here. Someone like Diana gets drafted in Phoenix. She ends up, I'm like, why didn't we talk about teaming up? Like that conversation never, we weren't enemies, obviously, but we did enjoy the battles. And I think it's been great for the league to have us two, best friends, yada, yada, the whole thing, playing against each other. But we didn't talk about teaming up until year 13, 14 in the league. And it was in Russia, over some drinks, what if we went to New York or something like that, It was never a serious thing. And I wonder what would have happened if because I'm pretty sure those conversations are happening now in our league where players are talking, but nobody had done it before. And it was almost not only had nobody done it, it would have been had we. It would have been a huge shakeup. So the second thing is we win in 2018 after this rebuild, the whole story. We win again in 2020, and then free agency hits us hard. And I had a hands-off approach in the free agency because I kind of felt like these players deserve the right to go through the process, decide on their own. And now I'm like, I should have meddled. I should have been all up in there. I should have been texting them. I should have been guilt tripping them, all of it. So that free agency process was new to our league. The new CBA brought in all kinds of movement.
So who would have been your Bosch if you were to pick a third?
That's a great question, Tommy.
The truth is, I had the Bosch. I had Lauren Jackson, and then Brianna Stewart. So Dee just needed to be the LeBron.
She just needed to come.
That's really what this is.
Seattle would have been title town.
And everyone hated us even more. Just added to the hate.